All right, so here you are. I have split the video in two, and now we are going to continue on with part two. I hope you're enjoying the process, and I really hope you're playing along. So let's get making. And if you're just starting with this part, there is a part one. Go back, subscribe to my channel, and it'll be right there waiting for you. All right, so here's where I am at. I have my box, and I've come along and done. I still have quite a lot of open space, and that's okay, because I can always come back in and add where I am. But what I want to do also is put in some stamping. So I did pull out, this is Eileen's first release, which was September 27th. This is a great set. This is my favorite set because it's very junk journal vintage. And in fact, one of the words is junk journal. Overdue, admit one ticket. And then there's 2 button cards and a library card. And then this is what's really cool. I think it was Elizabeth Robinson who realized this. Eileen, when she designed it, knew she had done it. But then I think it was Elizabeth was like, hey, look, this piece that is from the scallop box set perfectly fits Eileen's stamp. Look at that. Ta-da! So how fun is that? You can cut a mat board, and I will probably do that and put this on here, but I wanted to show you that. So it's just a really great set, and I will pull out my book as well in a bit and show you that I did for the first release. So here we go. Now what I want to do is I want to take some images, and I want to take Archival Ink because I'm going to be adding layers on top. I need a waterproof ink. So I'm going to grab a few colors of Archival. I'm actually also going to grab my favorite color, which is, or one of my favorites, Vermilion. It's nice to have a pop of red popping out every now and then there. And then I'm just going to take some of these images and randomly stamp them directly onto my box. Now, again, these are going to be under images because they will... I'll show you what I mean by that. They're going to be covered up, but you're going to be able to see through because we're using so many transparent images on top. So in my original box, for example, you can just see the layers through. You know, this paper, there's another paper on top. I'm trying to find, like here, I stamped down here, and so you can see where this stamp set went underneath, but you still have that image. Here it's on top, so it's very bold, but then under here you can still see it. And it just adds that extra bit. And this is why I like pulling the red, because the red really does, you can really see the red through the layers of tissue paper. But that's the general idea. And then again here, this is a really good example. There's like a swirly circle type stamp underneath. I think that's in a cobalt blue. And then this is peeking out. So some we do on top and some we do underneath. And so it goes. We just have a good old time. So I'm going to take a few of Eileen's. I think I'm going to come in with peeled paint just to give you an idea. And then again, I'll let you go play. Now the one thing is you can't stamp like that because you won't get an image. I have to hold it. And a hot tip is if you take another block and you put it underneath, then you will get a better image. But because I'm stamping on something that's not flat down, like you can see, there's not all the ink transferred, but that's okay. If I want, because it's clear, I could go back in and see, double jeopardy, if I can get it to work. Dun, dun, dun. Everyone holds their breath. Part of it is, yeah, no, but that's okay. It's still going to look cool. But part of it is I've got that uneven underneath. Now, could I have done this before I adhered my boxes together? Of course, I could have. I could have just left this hanging over the edge, and then I would have been on a flat surface. But I like to do it this way so I can sort of see my box develop as I go. Now I've got that one up there. You know, it'd be fun is to do just one on the corner maybe. And I can come and just have it hanging over. Oh, that's on decoupage. So that's a bit, the decoupage is resisting. Luckily it's dry because again, you know, decoupage is a plastic, but I like that idea. So I'm going to come over here where there is not decoupage. And again, I'm not stamping on a flat surface, so I'm not getting a perfect image. It doesn't matter. Do not be concerned, because if I didn't do this, you would be like, I'm not getting a perfect image, and then you would think yours wasn't right. It's not going to matter, because with all the layers, you will see as you go. And then I just like to clean this off with a bit of water. Of course, I've lost my spritzer bottle. Just get that up. Okay. One of the great patterns for this is the Damask pattern. This is really pretty. And what I would do with this is I would not put it on a block. I will come along and just randomly ink some of it up, because the idea is I just want to get sort of an impression. I'm not going to get a perfect image. That's not what I'm going for. I just want to get like that. And then I can come over here. Don't even know where I put ink. See what I mean? Like I'm getting bits and pieces. It's almost like it's wallpaper. And I think actually that's what gave, I think this was inspired by wallpaper, if I remember correctly. I hope you can see this. I'm starting to get in the zone. But again, it's just taking the different parts of the block. See, that's a really nice image right there. Now I could also come in a different color if I wanted. I'm kind of liking this blue. And I don't really want them to be, you know, kind of side by side. I want them to be over randomly. And if I don't have ink in that spot and I don't get a good image, that's fine too, because I can just pick it up from somewhere else. Yeah, it's looking good. And even though like that's kind of smudged, it's okay. Does not matter at all. So you can see how this can be quite relaxing. Now, of course, I do want to clean that off. There's a lot of ink left on there. I could just take a piece of paper as well. Take an envelope. We can start another project. Get some of that ink off. Now the Archival Ink is a great way to get these stamps to work, because sometimes the photopolymer, the silicone, depending on what they are or what they're made of, they resist the ink because it's a plastic. Archival ink will adhere to a plastic. Here we go. This is what I want to do. So a good way to get these stamps to work is to start by cleaning them off with a baby wipe, drying them, and then using Archival ink the first time. It'll stain the stamp, but then your stamp will hold whatever ink you want to use. Again, the only reason why I'm not using a distress ink, or one thing that works great with these is distress oxide inks, because they're a pigment. They have pigment in them as well. And what that does is it really allows them to adhere really well. But again, I'm going to come in with, you know, glue and a paintbrush. So I want to use something that's going to stay there. I don't want it to come off. Let's see, what else do we have? Now, some of these images I'm going to want to put on top as well, obviously. Let's take one. This is Eileen's new set. So fun. Let me see what it's called. It is called Everyday Sentiments. Oh, no, that's not right. I know, I was looking at it going, that doesn't make sense. Oh, I don't have it. Oh, it's over there. So you'll see mine are a bit milky. I was doing another project with them. So they come clear, but I was doing another project with them and I had paste. So mine, and then I left them in water so they kind of stained, which is fine. Doesn't affect how they work. This is called Wonderful World of Flowers. Wonderful World of Flowers. Maker Forte. Alrighty. Do I want a stamp block? Maybe. Let's see. Now, I haven't used this stamp yet, so what I am going to do is take a piece of paper and make sure I get it primed and working properly. Just take a piece of scratch paper from my handy dandy bag of scratch paper. It's so hard to figure out why my desk ends up being a disaster, isn't it? As I pull everything out. I have a nice shadow there. I don't charge extra for the shadows. All right, it's just that time of year. It's hard to, of course, that sat there for too long while I was looking for paper. But like I said, you see how you need to prime these stamps to start with. The first time you use them, you definitely want to get them going. And all that is it's getting that, I don't know, let me see if it tells you what they're made out of. It's either photopolymer or, oh, these are made in the USA. That's great too, isn't it? Photopolymer. So these are photopolymer. So it's a great product to stamp with, don't get me wrong. I know they are switching to rubber stamps too, I believe. They're going to have both. But see, look, that's a great image. Okay, so now it's working. Love these doodles. So these were created from a class, like I said, that Eileen would teach, and she would teach doodling. And the thing of it is, people were constantly saying, you should make stamps, you should make stamps. So guess what? She did. So that's good. Love that. All right, so you get the gist of it. I'm going to keep going. You can push pause if you want, and then come play with me some more. Now then, here is my box so far. You can see I've added the stamping. I've added a bunch of, this is the collage paper, some of the, images that I have, the stamp set, the Russian, that again was the catalog, and then Eileen's stamps. So now the next step is I need some more background on here because I want a lot of this to be covered. I still have a lot of white spaces. So I came in, and as I showed you, I have grabbed just some background pieces of tissue paper. I've also grabbed some leftover scrapbook paper that's light. I just want light pieces that are fairly simple. I don't want super big patterns because I do want, my top layers to be the focal point. So I just have some, pieces of paper. And then I also wrote myself a note. And on this note, I'm going to put this in here with the idea of covering it up. And it just talks about where I am this year, what's going on. And again, I won't be able to read it really, but it'll have some of my writing coming in through my box and through my layers. So that's just kind of a fun thing to do, to write yourself a note and say, hey, you got this. Don't let the world beat you down. Things are never as bad as they seem. And things seem pretty bad these days. So it's always good for that reminder of, hey, chin up. And I'm just going to do a layer of decoupage and then another layer on top. And then if I need to, I can smooth that out. And so I'm just going to keep on building my box that way. I don't mind having some white spots, and I actually might come in with another background stamp. This is Eileen's second release, so the amount of stamps to work with is not huge at this point. And again, I'm going to really focus on covering up those edges. also at this point. But we can cover up the edges, you know, as we go. So it's not too big of a deal. But you get the idea. I don't even know if I'm on camera here. It's another tricky thing. You're busily working away and then you realize, oh, I've slid right off of where the camera might be. All right, so I just continue to do that if you're working along, and I'll be back. Now, this is what I have. I've added some tissue, some scrapbook paper. One of the things you'll notice, which is fun, is that we're already seeing where, you know, the words are coming through underneath because we're using napkin, or this is napkin rather, instead, not tissue paper. And then I tore up my quote and I put, or my little verbiage, I put some of it there, some more paper, again, continuing to cover that line. But this is, I love that. This is what we're looking for, that magic of layers and just coming along. Now, here's another hot tip. If you have a stamp like this one that didn't stamp very well, again, because we're stamping on, you know, an uneven surface, and I will show you, we're going to put these stamps also in a higher level, and I'll show you a way to do it to where it doesn't matter what your surface looks like. But you know, that's partially stamped. I can come in and just cover it with some paper. And now look, that looks like that stamp was perfect all along, and it's just been hidden under my layer, my next layer. So that's a great way. And again, because it's archival ink, it's not smudging. And that just is kind of really interesting too. It gives an interesting look of the leaf sort of poking out behind another, another image. And as I said, we're going to come back in and put some of these images in a higher level. So we're getting there. So now I'm going to show you yet another way, because apparently I'm going to give you all the secrets in one video. Another way to add images. I want some more background images, and I've pulled out some Seth Apter stamps because he's got such great background imagery. This is one of his newest ones. I love this. So, but I want it to be crisper. So what I've done is when I use paint and whatnot, I usually put it on a piece of deli paper. And that way I have this these leftover pieces. Like you can see that this was, you know, I had some blue paint, whatever. And then I can use these in my art. So once again, not wasting the ink. So here's an example of one that I came along and I just had some multiple colors on. I had some stencil clean off. And then I just stamped an image on top. And so I'm going to do that. I'm going to pull some of these and use some of this imagery. So for example, I'm going to take, this is from Seth's ESA 14. And I'm just going to take that in. I realized I hadn't really pulled that red in that I wanted to. So I'm going to take that vermilion and I'm just going to put it. The other thing you can do, which is kind of a cool idea. Oh, see that? How great is that? And that's got some of the greens, some of the blues. So I can also pull in some of the colors from the inside of, you know, those poppies, some of the yellows and some of the oranges. The other thing you can do is just stamp directly onto your book print. So let me see. Random book print. So I can do that again. I can, and that way I know that I'm going to have a better image. And then it's dufold because I have the typewriting behind it, or music paper, or whatever. Like, use your imagination. I could stamp on top of a black and white, like the Tim Holtz collage paper. This set is black and white mainly. I could stamp on top of that and pull in another image. So that's going to be my next step, and that will be it for the background. So I'll be right. I'm pretty much done with those layers. So I've added, as you see here, some of that deli paper. I'm actually really pleased at how translucent the deli paper ended up being. I've also added some of the numbers and the word overdue from Eileen's button card set. So up here you can see, and I did that in red. I pulled in some of that red. Here's another piece of that mixed media paper, and then again the numbers in red. I've got overdue in red and numbers in red. Just little bits of the mixed media paper, and it just adds that little extra pop. There's that Seth Apter stamp that was done on the written paper, the typed book paper. I made sure to keep my leaf from being covered, and then again some more of the deli paper. So it's looking good. So now the next step is to start adding the focal images on top. And as you can see with this one, for example, the bird, here's a focal image. This has actually ended up being a focal image. It's on top of a lot of other papers, the butterfly, that type of thing, this piece of napkin. These were all made with napkins. So one of the things we're going to do is I'm going to use some napkin imagery as well that I had pulled out. For example, that poppy is one, and the stamps. But I'm also think what I'm going to do is make some with Eileen's stamps, as well as bringing in some of these images, some of the flowers. What are they called again? Wonderful World of Flowers. I want to bring in some of these. And this is where it was tricky, because at first I was going, you know, this is mainly a sort of junk journal, vintage style book, but I wanted to do mixed media as well, because to me, these don't speak vintage to me, they speak mixed media. Although I know if you were to use thread, it would make them vintage, right? But then I realized when I started adding this color, well, why can't I meld the two together? So I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try and do sort of a combination of the mixed media and the vintage, and we'll see how that looks. Experiments in arting. But now the trick is trying to figure out where these focal images are going to go and yet keep some of the integrity of my background. All right, next step is to create these focal images. And what I decided to do, I did still want some color behind them. I do want them to be translucent. So I've come along with napkins. That was my first thought. And I'm going to do one and see how it works. But in order to get this awesome impression on this napkin, this was a Jane Davenport napkin. She had a series out years ago. I don't know, they might still be available, or you might have them in your stash. Also, you could use decorative napkins. You can use, what's it called? Tissue paper for gift wrapping. Anything, again, that's going to create translucency, because we do want to see the other layers behind it. The other thing you could do is create your own. Take a piece of deli paper and just slap some paint on there and go. And that might actually be a separate video. I might do that just for fun, because I'm having such a good time doing this. It really is fun. So again, in order to have success, you can see I stamped my image first to make sure, and there are some gaps missing. I inked it up really well and then stamped again. And this one was my second one. It's still a little bit sketchy, but by the time I was doing my third and fourth, look at that, perfect. And so one of the things I did, I found leaving the rest of the napkin underneath helped. It gave it a little bit of a good landing spot. And then literally having my ink pad here, and I'll do an example, having my ink pad here, stamping, boom, really quickly. Because this is such a porous material, it sucks the ink in, but archival ink dries very quickly. That's the whole point of it. So because this is a large surface area, you know, it takes, you have to be quick. The other side of that is to use a stamping platform. It's tissue paper. As soon as you stamp on it, it's going to move. So I don't know that even using a stamping platform would work. And so here's another image I was thinking of, actually one of the ones I really liked. And one of these days I'm going to have an Etsy shop, and in my Etsy shop, I'm going to have napkins because I collect them. If you've taken my art journal classes, you know that I like doing napkin work. We use napkins in my classes quite often. So one of these days I will have that. Until then, Eileen has that. How convenient for you. She sells napkins in her Etsy shop quite often. So you can just go to her Etsy shop, Eileen Hull, and pick up napkin packs. She sells them in packs from her. So I'm going to take another image because I already have a really good one of this one. So I'm going to do another one, and I'm tempted to just do this. I don't know, like, and keep in mind when you're doing this, you want this to be the focal image. So you don't want a lot of black on your napkin. You don't want, you know, like for me to do it on the red, maybe not so much. That's pretty dark. Also, that'll cover up the layers underneath. So you do want to just, you know, try a bunch of different ones. But I'm actually loving this idea. Although not, yeah, that's kind of fun, or the white. So let's try this out. I'm going to bring my tester paper here. The other thing you can do, if you get an almost perfect image, but not quite, you can always just draw the lines in. It's not cheating. The art police are not going to come and say, like, that's almost perfect. I could just draw some of those lines in. But the art police are not going to come and tell you, no. Okay, so I think I'm going to go for this. I love the idea of the green behind the leaves. Like, I could probably, I mean, I have options, right? Oh, look at that. I'm so pulling that in. Okay, let's do it over here then. Let's go with this. So I'm going to aim for the yellow and the pink. And I am going to get this, you know, the edge of the napkin line embossed in it, but that's fine. It just adds more texture. So this is how I did it. I over-inked my stamp because I'm an over-inker. Make sure I got it everywhere. And I quickly came and bam, plunked it down, and then pressed down really hard, but not necessarily rocking it back and forth. And then I want to hold the napkin down when I pull up. So I'm pulling straight up. And there, I got a pretty darn good image. Pretty darn good. That'll work. I might come in with a pen just in here and darken that up a bit, but I like that. So that's what we're going to do. So once you've got your stamped images and have them, you know, get my water brush out and pull them out, we'll go from there. Right. I'm at the part in the process where this box is just taking on a life of its own. Got so much going on, but I love it. Now, if you are making one of these and you don't want to put all this time and energy in, by all means, just put the stamped images. You can do it on paper, you can paint them, you can glue them on, you can use just the napkins and the stamped images. You don't have to go through this, but I'm just loving how this came out. It's looking crazy busy, and that's okay. I'm going to try and tone down the busy a little bit, but you can see here I doodled around the leaf. I'm thinking maybe I should color this in. Who knows? Or maybe leave it. What else have I done? I put this stamped image down and then that postage stamp, which is great. And I'm going to add some solid pieces in here as well, and that'll help tone it down. I also want to bring in some of the images from the kit, right? What I'd like to do right now, though, is I was thinking I would like this quote. Let me put it on the white so you'll see what it'll look like. And this will help, again, sort of give me something solid. And it's the Fill Your Paper with the Breathings of Your Heart by William Wadsworth. Never know how to pronounce that. And I'm going to do a technique to show you how to get the stamp to fit on. And we'll see if it's successful, because the thing of it is, this is a raised. I don't know if this is going to work. We'll find out. We'll find out together. Or maybe not. If I don't have this in the video, you'll know it didn't work. So, but you'll never know because it won't be in the video. Sorry. Okay. Here is Sizzix Sticky Grid. It comes with 2 of these things, and you just basically put it down onto your whatever platform you like to use. This is the Tim Holtz platform. And then I'm going to stick my mat board piece down. All that does is hold it. because obviously I can't use the magnets because it would impede the word. And then I'm going to line that up. Where I'm thinking this might not work, unfortunately, is because this is I'm using mat board, not paper, but we'll see. Maybe it'll work. I don't know. I think I just said that twice. And then I'm going to ink it up with the Archival ink and press down. But what this will enable me to do, yeah, see it, I've got it fairly well lined up because I can always distress the edges. We'll see if this is going to. Oh, we're getting there. This is what I love about the platform. Yep, that's good enough for me. So now I've, because I pushed so hard, that's fine. So I'm a little off kilter, but all I have to do is distress the edges and that'll fix that. So that's good. And I will put that back. Just put that away for now, grab the word later. A lot of times when I'm missing words, it's because they're on my platform. And my idea being it's going to go somewhere here. I'm going to come along with some of the ephemera that I also put my little scrap pieces of paper because, you know, never throw anything away is the rule. And I love that butterfly, but that's attached to something. There's all these. I just want to put a few of these in, and what that'll do too is that'll tone it down. The other thing I want to do is stamp some of Eileen's words, and I want to make a postage stamp. So this is going to be a 4-year video, I have a feeling. Ooh, a butterfly on the flower. That might be nice. Actually, the butterfly I like better is this one. Oh, and this is better too. This is a smaller ticket. I also have, oh yeah, these are the cutouts. Let's see. Might be fun to do. I like the frames they had too. But again, I want this to be calmer, not more crazy. I like crazy though. If you know me, you know that I like crazy. And what I can do, I'm not a fan of white, all the white space, so I can come in sort of and intentionally cover up some of that white space. I kind of like that there. I like that it sort of highlights these two images. So, all right, rather than force you to watch me do this, I will glue some stuff down and I'll be back. Okie dokie, I am making a stamp. So what I did was I stuck my piece of paper from the paper line. I can't find anything. Here we go. The 49th and Market paper line. And I've laid down the postage stamp to start with. And now what I'm going to do, so I have this great image. So it's already like a postage stamp. And then what I'm going to do is add some words. How about explore nature? That would be good. So the nice thing about this, I can position them sorry for the ring glare. There's nothing. It's fall, so our light is not great. Okay, and then I've got that handy dandy. I'm going to ink that up. You can actually just put a piece of paper there. Get rid of that glare. Explore nature. Love it. There we go. That looks so good. All right, let's see. I think that's good enough. And then I'll decide what else to put in these little boxes. But you get the idea. I decided that it's too busy. It is even too busy for me, which that says a lot. So what I've done is I've come in with some fossilized amber distressed paint, and I've just put it on my sheet here. And actually what I should be doing is putting it on my deli paper, right, to create more fun. But I started out with using just sampling different colors and seeing what color I thought would work the best. And I am going with this sort of honey yellow, and it does, you know, it goes nicely because it's sort of already in there. So I did swatch out a couple of colors. But anyhow, I'm just going to show you how I'm doing it. So I'm taking a wet paintbrush and I'm coming along with that. And I'm just, the idea being I want it to be sort of fluid. I want it to blend in. I just want to add that tint. And all that's doing is knocking back the white that's kind of, I know there's people that love white space. I'm not one of them. I don't know why. So again, to taste. And some of these, I'm coming in on some of the images. Some of them I'm leaving, like I'm going to leave that stamped image. I could color that in. So it's sort of half and half. Like I've colored this image in, but I've left that. So I'm leaving sort of a balance. The other thing I'm not coloring in is some of the stamps. So some of the stamps I have, like this one I covered up a little bit, but this one I've left. And just to let you know, on camera, this is looking super bright, but fossilized amber is more of like a bee, like a honey almost, like amber. It looks like amber. So it's a little less yellow. In my camera, with my lighting, I think it's showing up crazy yellow. It's not really that color. So I'm just sort of smudging with my finger and going in. And again, I'm not going to color in this image. Or I think I've been leaving these out as well. And I haven't decided if I'm going to leave them white or if I'm going to, I might come in and just paint them, but we'll see. Giving myself some options. And if I change my mind, I can always come back in with the honey or the fossilized amber. But I'm liking that better, I must say. So you get the idea. And it's interesting because some of the images pop, like the navy. This image is popping more once I put the amber on there. So it's more of a tint. I've watered it down. Distress paint is already fairly fluid. It's an acrylic, but it's pretty fluid. So it's not hard to create a tint with it. And the reason why I would use that as opposed to a watercolor is it is still going to be probably pretty permanent. So I don't have to worry again about smudging. There we go. So just knock that back a bit. All right. And then I have to decide. I like leaving that. I like that quote. So the other thing I did, here was a quote. I did one of Eileen's new quote stamps, and I put that on the tissue paper and then glued it down on there. The other thing I've done, I finished off my little box quote here. I just distressed the edges and added a few of these Prima hardware mechanicals. I've also made a few, don't want that. That's the other thing. I'm interested to see if this will come off. Yes, it does. It's fun. I've made a few stamps. This video's been going so long and I've been working on this project. This is day 2 that I don't even remember what I've videotaped anymore. So this, I think the idea of this is going to be a separate video because it's just becoming the longest video in the world. But I used the background paper of the 49th and Market, stamped Eileen's stamp on it, and then added, that's her quote, and then added some postmark from another stamp set. And I think what I'm going to do is put that down there. I might color that in. I haven't decided. I kind of like that, but I like the Explore nature. So I'm going to come in with Ultra Bond. And I can use that Scrapbook Pal or a credit card. ThermaWeb makes this so it goes well together. So I'm just dabbing some on. The reason why I want to use this is it's very strong. I actually, this has become a real go-to glue for me, especially with items that, you know, are going to be handled. This is a box, it's going to be handled. So I want a strong glue to hold things down. So I'm just going to do like that. I don't want too much because I don't want it splooshing out the sides. Although it does dry clear. But it probably, I don't know if it dries glossy. However, if it does dry glossy, one of the things I can do is come back over again with my matte medium, and that will get rid of the gloss. All right, how's that for busy? This is like the busiest project ever created. So that's that, and I'm just going to put some of these randomly around. I also did come in and paint the top, and then I distressed the inside with the matching distress ink and with some of the paint. I think I used the paint actually, but you could use the fossilized amber distress ink as well. So that looks better. I really like that now. And I think that side might be good. I might come in, I'm feeling that I might come in with black and distress the edges. I also still do want to put some washi tape because there is a couple of places. I don't know. We'll see. But it's getting there. Seriously getting to the point of being finished. It's going to be cool. I glued my box down and it's not very interesting to watch. So all I did was take the Ultra Bond glue and I put it along the edge of the box. I placed it down and I just held it for a bit to adhere it to the base. We're getting there. All right, I have gone and I've covered a piece of mat board with double-sided adhesive, and then I've also cut a piece of paper. And the reason why I did it separately was on purpose because I don't want this cut in my paper. I thought I might as well just do it separately and then I can score it, and that way my paper will bend underneath. It just looks prettier. I don't have to cover it, you know, blah, blah. So that's what I've done. And I'm going to actually, I'll bend this first to break the fibers. And then I'll come along. Might need the pokey hole tool. There we go. Just realized I don't have the right glasses on. Can't see what I'm doing. And those two pieces of the double-sided or easy cut adhesive, which is a double-sided adhesive, which we've talked about already. All right. And then I'm going to flatten that down. I don't want to get my fingers all over it. Lose the sticky. Okay, let's see if we can do this. Because this is sticky. Oh, not too bad. Ah, look, I messed it up at the bottom. Might have a second to be able to pull that up. It's very sticky, yeah. Let's see if we can wiggle it. Yep, I might be able to. Whew. All right, that's fine. It's not perfect, but that's okay. I can actually just trim off this edge because the idea is this is going to go here anyway. So I can, and I can also, the other thing I can do is to, I'm going to ink the edges in. Oh, this is going to hide it anyway, isn't it? So I'm good. All right. And I think I will distress the edges with the Vintage Photo. Just, and I only have to distress the end one, really. And 12 years later, we will have a cool looking box. Actually, you know, this has only taken me, I'm on day 2, but we're talking solid. Day 2, solid. Which is kind of crazy, but fun too. So, you know, you can make one of these in a weekend. And you don't have to be this, you know, this fussy. But that's half the fun of it, is being fussy. But it depends on your personality. If you don't like the fussy, then by all means. And I'm not really liking that part, but that's okay. I could always put another piece of paper behind there. So that's what it's going to look like. I'm just going to glue those together. All right, the marathon box making. I think I'm done. 2 days of box making. But you know, that's pretty good if you think about it, that you could knock out this project in 2 days. I did sort of smudge that up a bit. Dang it. Anyway, it's fine. Okay, so let me explain what I did. I showed you how it's kind of hard to see with the lighting here. I made my little bend. I glued it down. I did put a piece of washi tape here to give it, hide the white. And I also did put a backing paper here. But then, of course, I didn't put a backing paper on this piece. It's fine. You're not going to be able to see it. It's behind. The only thing you might be able to see is this. So I like that I put the washi tape there, glued that down, glued this down with red line tape so it's nice and strong. And there is my spot. And I can put, I'm making something for next week that will go here. So how's that? So that you can look forward to that. And then added my stamps that I'd put in, distressed the edges in black. I also distressed this edge with a black Sharpie, and I'll go around and do some of the, oh, these are already done with brown. That's funny. Must have missed the front. So that's cool. And then on this, the only thing I did was I added this little dragonfly image from a napkin, and I did come in with the yellow. I also found the box Italian dictionary piece, so I added that, and again I scuffed it in with the yellow to sort of tone that down. And the funny thing is, right underneath the word boy was bra, so I did take that off because, you know, that's a little racy. And I've got this, I'm probably going to stamp something here, but it's in the back, so you can't really see it, although my goal is to maybe put another one of these here. And you'll see, maybe I'll do that for next week. But pretty much that stayed pretty much the same, I believe. And then this side, I added the other stamp that I made with the word junk journal. So that was cool. And that was pretty much it. So that's my box. And now we're ready to go. So all I have to do is put all my stamps back together because they're all higgly-piggly. And look at that. Now I have a nice, fabulous place for my stamp sets to go in. Perfect. And as Eileen's stamp sets, you know, that's going to give me a lot of good room for a number of months of Eileen's stamps. Whew, that was a lot. I'm just saying that was a lot, but I love my box. It's kind of crazy, and eclectic, but I like that managed to meld sort of the mixed media, a little bit of mixed media in with the vintage junk journal look. So that's kind of fun and kind of different, really. And I think that's it. I think you've gotten more than enough. Oh, I also did and add that little Europa there. Love it. And who knows, I might add bits and pieces that I find off my desk as time goes on. But that's the project. It's a mammoth. It's going to be a two-parter. So I thank you so much for sticking with me. I hope you make one of these. I mean, think about it. Really, all you need is one Eileen Hall die to make this fabulous box or the other boxes. So you just need the box with scallop lid, and away you go. And again, the links will be below. I hope you enjoyed this. If you make one, be sure to share it with me. You can share it on my Facebook, but you could also share it in the Eileen Hall fan club. Let me know that you were inspired by me. Tag me so I can see it, and I'll come and make a comment. And that's it for now, my friends. You have a lovely inky week. Take care.